My name is Kirsta Niemie Benedetti, and I am a social impact artist in Columbus, Ohio.
So what does being a social impact artist mean?
I'm not making art for myself. I'm not even necessarily making art for profit. I am trying to harness the power of art to change. I would love to create dialogues through my work that lead to people changing their perspective on certain people groups.
Kirsta works with the nonprofit We Amplify Voices, using art projects for rehabilitation and empowering underrepresented voices, like those at the Ohio Reformatory for Women.
The main criteria was working with women that are serving extended sentences. And so that usually means 25 to life.
It's very frustrating to take the worst possible choice and moment in your entire life and then completely be defined by it forever. And that, it's very, very difficult to get anybody to see you any other way except for that moment.
So how do you want people to see you?
I want people to see all of us as having value and being part of society that is positive and not just a drain or something that's disposable.
And somewhere along the line, you decided to create a portrait for each of the 15 women. So tell me about these pieces.
I would take a photo of each woman, let them be in control of the portrait and of how they are standing in their pose, and then they pick which portrait they feel like represents them best. And that's a power and an authority that I give over to them. The external symbol of their incarceration is their state-issued prison uniform. I wanted to be able to physically remove that external symbol of their incarceration, and then having each one filled with the objects that represent them better.
1, 2, 3. Hey, you did that. You did that with the wires. Beautiful. And the poles is everything.
I still see them as people worthy of dignity, and that their lives are precious, no matter if they're being spent behind bars for the rest of it or not.
And it's your wire. Yeah.
It's not her telling me I did a good job. It's more like, we did this together. Look at this. It happened. That's me. So it's just really special.
The wires are to represent power because I never had power in my life. Never, not once. But when I got to prison, I learned that I had power the entire time. Absolutely. And it's been inside of me the entire time. I never didn't have my power. I just gave it to the wrong people.
The portraits and information about each woman will travel to several locations, sharing their journey to incarceration and rehabilitation. The first exhibit will be at the Shot Tower Gallery in Columbus. Tell me about what your goal is for everyone who gets to see the paintings. Mm-hmm. What do you hope other people learn from this?
These women have inherent value because they're people. That they still have dignity, that they're still able to do good in their community, even if that's just behind bars. Rehabilitation is reciprocal, and so we can't expect them to change and be rehabilitated if we can't change our perspective on them.
So what do you think of the portrait?
When you see yourself painted in that light from somebody else's perspective, amazing. It's incomparable.
Yeah.
I've never felt something like that before.
I want to start a dialogue of seeing these women as people with dreams and hopes and desires and pasts and complexities, so that conversation can lead to a broader perspective of incarceration in this country and how we approach that.
Kirsta Niemie Benedetti is a social impact artist. Her passion is working with underrepresented voices, including a group of incarcerated individuals at the Ohio Reformatory for Women.
Instead of directly approaching it as, this is about their crime, which is what a lot of, true crime podcasts and all these things focus on, just the crime. But instead, I want to pull back and see the bigger picture and see the complex human that made this decision. And at this point, to go beyond it.
We work with a lot of community partners for our programming, and I think that's really important in what we do, to bring the community in have them interact with our population, and the vast majority of our incarcerated population goes home. They come back to the communities, and so giving them the strength, giving them the purpose in order to have the confidence and go back out, be good neighbors to all of us, and then also be successful in whatever they choose.
It's hard to change when you don't feel like you fit into society.
Absolutely.
You know, so when we do things like this and people make us feel like a regular human being, then we believe that about ourselves and we are able to go out there and fit in.
I'd say our system is weighted a little too heavily at the moment toward punishment and not quite enough toward the things that are going to restore and make us safer and healthier as a community. We are a public interest nonprofit law firm. Our mission is to create redemptive, intelligent, fair criminal justice systems. You know, one barrier is that you have to have hope to believe that taking these programs matters. And if you don't think that you're ever going to be released, for instance, then why go through the step of taking these programs and trying to change?
The women Benedetti is working with are serving extended sentences. That usually means 25 years to life.
I like the focus to definitely be on the things that are being done to get better, to grow, to change, to be the best versions of ourselves, because they've spent a lot of time on our past, and it's getting old.
You know, these are things that are part of their history, part of their past, but it's not the sum total of who they are. And we believe strongly in not writing people off at OJPC, people who have served decades of time, who have taken programming, who have had clean records while being incarcerated, the system that really focus on redemption as opposed to just focusing on punishment.
You and I met through a mutual friend, and when she spoke to me about you, she kept talking about how impactful your story was to her. What does it mean to you when you hear that? Because that's your goal, right? To share these women's stories.
The way I'm approaching storytelling through art, as well as just the power of the stories, they can change you. One story can change your perspective on something. And so, yeah, it's very encouraging when I hear that people are actually impacted by the work.
You know, we try to follow the evidence and the science here in our advocacy, and I think the research is pretty clear that programs matter, and that when you have folks who are exposed to cognitive behavioral therapy, for instance, and those approaches, that can really change behavior and can reduce rates of recidivism.
Hearing them tell their stories, hearing them laugh together, cry together, seeing the reveal of each one of their portraits has just been so powerful, to have someone see them through a different set of eyes, to have someone see them for really who they are. And so we want to be able to give them that strength and that power to be able to be successful in whatever that may mean. And we want them to be successful moving forward.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your community, click the subscribe button here. You can also download the Spectrum News app or watch us on TV for the latest information, balanced coverage, weather updates every 10 minutes, and more. We'll see you then.